Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make this soap for myself. It is made with bacon grease as 20% of the soap. So here it goes. So here is some bacon grease that I got from bacon that I had cooked. I had cooked it really slowly and got lots of oil off it and thought why not use it to make soap. So here, and you can see here that it's just really creamy, like it's so creamy. I had never seen it before actually, guys, so bear with me. It just looked so creamy and very nice at room temperature. So now I'm measuring out some shea butter. You guys probably already know that creamy Suds soaps must have shea butter in them. I just love shea butter. I'm West African, so it's only natural. So here is some shea butter, and then I will go ahead and melt it as usual. And then after melting it, I thought to put in my bacon grease, thinking that that would melt the bacon grease, but it just had a weird consistency and just wasn't really melting. So eventually I still had to put it in the microwave to kind of melt it down before adding my coconut oil to it. So I'll just let you guys see that process. Now that it's melted, I'm going ahead to add my coconut oil before I then measure out my I'll melt the coconut oil down by just stirring it, and then I'll measure out my soft oils. Now, what I realized was, well, I had to use this method because I had some frozen distilled water. But ordinarily, guys, I probably would have just used a heat transfer method to save time. But I had some distilled water I just wanted to use up because it was frozen for a long time in the freezer and was just kind of, I don't know, it was evaporating. I don't know, does anybody else's freezer do that, like use up water? It's just so weird. So I just wanted to use up the frozen distilled water that I had, and that's why I had to use this process. And guys, in this video I actually do not use a stick blender. I'll show you guys. It's just amazing. It took me, so I'll show you guys. Once I've measured out my oils, I am now measuring out my distilled water cubes, and then I will just top it up with some non-frozen water. And then, guys, sorry, I find that I lose words a lot, but yeah, guys, just bear with me. Anyway, so I top it up and then go ahead and measure my lye before I mix my lye water. And so you see this process, I actually learned it from Terry of Tree Marie, Tree Marie Soap Works, and she always used this method, and I actually find that it is true. With this method, there's little to no fumes. You can really just hold your breath and just do it like this. There's literally, I smell nothing when I use this method. It's amazing, and plus it just helps your lye water cool down faster. So here I'm doing this. I didn't add any citric acid or anything to this batch, no sodium lactate, nothing, just because it's for personal use, and I just wanted to test out my bacon grease as well to just see how it would work in my soap. And yeah. So here I'm just adding my lye water to my oils, and you can see now there's no stick blender involved. Because it's such a small batch, and I actually find that we soap makers tend to just use stick blenders all the time, even when we don't necessarily need them. So now I'm measuring out my fragrance oil. And also another thing I wanted to test out, this is a new fragrance oil I got from I think it was Wholesale Supplies, and I just wanted to test it out. And so I had to measure it, and some of it just spilled over, so I had to clean it. Plus I noticed later on that my fragrance oil actually stained my mats, which was just a bit of a bummer. I didn't like it at all. But so here you can see now I'm stirring, and guess what, guys? This had to sit for about 40 to 50 minutes before I was able to pour it in the mold. So you'll find that if you pay attention, you find that I kept stopping and starting and stopping and starting, and I watched a movie with my husband, came back to it. Like, I literally spent so much time just stirring this thing. It just would not trace. Well, it traced, but it just didn't get like thick. And I kind of wanted it to get, I wanted it to get a little thick so that I could see those lines when you trace, but it just didn't get really thick. So eventually I had to pour it like that. If you're doing swirls, sometimes I think it's good to just consider not using the stick blender. Like when soaps were made hundreds of years ago, I'm sure nobody used stick blenders. I feel like we depend so much on stick blenders, and that's usually one of the reasons why our batter accelerates. And people tend to blame things like, fragrance oils, or they say, I soaped at this temperature or that temperature. You notice from my videos I actually do not even pay attention to temperature very much, because I feel like it's a little of it's a good step, but I feel like there's just no absolute need to always pay strong attention to temperature, except I don't want my trace to really set up fast or something of that nature, or I want it to set up fast. Then sometimes I pay attention to temperature, but it's really not a big deal. Sometimes biggest problem with traces accelerating is that stick blender. Drop your stick blender and just see that it's magic. It takes more patience, obviously, because it took me watching a movie to be patient enough to wait for this. So yes, it does take patience, but if you put down your stick blender, you'll find that you can do amazing things with your soap. You can make beautiful swirls with your soap. You can get it to the perfect consistency for you if you just don't use your stick blender. So yeah, maybe this is my little no stick blending advocate. I didn't even use a whisk. See, I'm just using the spatula. And the reason I didn't use the whisk is because I feel like the whisk incorporates air into the batter, and I didn't want any air in it. So that's why I chose to just use the spatula and keep stirring and stopping and starting. Also, guys, if you have watched to this point, I just really hope you have subscribed. Like, have you clicked the subscribe button? Have you clicked the like button? It really does help. It helps me grow. So please, guys, if you could subscribe to my channel, I would be so grateful. Trust me, I do the happy dance each time I see a subscriber. You guys have no idea. I'm just here trying to get my channel, to grow. I'm working so hard, so it's such a reward when you guys subscribe. So now back to the matter. Here I am now pouring it in. You can see that it's such a light trace, and this is after about 40-50 minutes. Obviously the oils could have played their own role, the temperature as well. It wasn't very hot, so that could have also played a role in just slowing down my trace, and so many things, but it was good enough to put in the mold. However, I did have to wait a long time before I was able to unmold. And even when I unmolded, I'm going ahead here, but let me just keep going. When I unmolded, you would see that it was still a bit soft. So let me let you guys watch this, and then in a few seconds I'll come back. So I sprayed it down with rubbing alcohol, and then I covered it with some cling film just to, prevent soda ash, since it was such a light trace as well. Light traces are usually very bad with soda ash. Now this is 24 hours later. I took off the cling film, tried to see if I could remove it, but I couldn't, so waited. 36 hours later, I'm back again, and this time I tested it with the smallest one in there, and nope, it didn't work. So I had to wait further. I was impatient, so I came back at 44 hours instead of 48 hours, and then I took everything out. It was slightly soft, and then they weren't really coming out, quite as neatly as I would have loved them to, but it was still not so bad. And here they are. You can see the color changing a little bit because the fragrance oil I used has some vanillin in it, so I expect this to turn a little brown over time. And this final bar was the best of them all, so I just thought to show you guys here what it looks like. And look at how lovely that is. I will let you guys know how it goes with this soap with the bacon grease, and just let you know if it was a success after it cures, obviously in 6 weeks. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.